Hello everyone and welcome back to IMO Reviews. Today we are discussing Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, directed by Akiva Schaffer and starring Andy Samberg, John Mulaney, Seth Rogen and J.K. Simmons. Chip and Dale are reunited after years apart in the acting industry, and now they must come together to solve a crime in the animated Disney universe. But before we go any further, could you be a dear and hit that like button and the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please be sure to give us a follow on Instagram. There is a link in the description below. You'll be getting access to further content, polls, tournaments, and you even get to have a say in what I review. And of course, we thank you if you do. So getting straight into the positives of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, the immediate standout for me is the animation style in this movie. You can just tell every single frame has had so much love and effort and hard work poured into it. It's the interaction and the blending of hand-drawn animation with CGI and real-life objects, and it was very convincing throughout. Don't get me wrong, there was the odd occasion where it didn't look quite right. But when they got it right, my God, they got it impressively right. I also thought the voice acting was spot on here. Andy Samberg and John Mulaney not only fit the characters nicely, they have that youthful energy that matches these characters, and they also have a really good chemistry that they can bounce off each other believably. And I also thought the story was pretty interesting, actually. It was different, and it certainly wasn't what I was expecting. It actually reminded me of that video game, The Wolf Among Us, if any of you remember that. It's a satire on fairy tales. The big bad wolf is a detective, and he has to go and interrogate little Miss Muffet about Humpty Dumpty's appearance. It's that sort of thing. And it's the same here, just within the Disney universe. Actually, it extends beyond the Disney universe. There's a lot of different Easter egg characters in this movie. But it's the same sort of thing, the same principle that these known and loved characters that you grew up with are actually, not what you see on the screen. They are very much living Hollywood lifestyles. And I really did enjoy the satire of it. I think many of these jokes are going to fly straight over the kids' heads. They are not going to get it. It's going to be the adults who pick up on the nuance of it. And I have to admit, I thought it was funny. Rarely do I think a child's film is actually that funny. I'll normally describe it as, it got a chuckle out of me once. And that's me politely saying it did its best. But I have to be honest about this one, I genuinely did laugh on more than one occasion. I thought it was surprisingly witty and quite charming. But I do have some flaws for the movie, and one of them is a big one. Is it just me, or does Dale, I'm actually forgetting which one's which, I think it was Dale, the CGI one looked horrible. I didn't think he looked good in the trailers, and he still doesn't look good here. It's his eyes. His eyes are too big, they don't blink enough, he looks a little mangy. I kind of wish he was hand-drawn like Chip, and we just had them both hand-drawn, one being quite a poor CGI rendition and one being really beautifully hand-drawn. Didn't quite work for me. And I don't really know why they chose to do it. From the posters and the trailers, I thought it was going to be a huge part of the storyline. Perhaps they started off 2D and then they managed to find a portal and one of them goes through to the 3D world. A little bit like that Simpsons episode where Homer walks through a wall and becomes like the hit and run version of himself. That's a great Simpsons episode. But that's kind of what I was thinking was going to be done here, and it's going to be a matter of trying to get them back together. It is not that at all. One of them's CGI and one of them isn't. And it's just for a joke. It's not that funny. And I do feel sorry for the human actors in this film. I'm not going to dig them out because I could tell what it was. They are very clearly acting alone in a room to nothing. And it shows. It feels like they are acting alone in a room with nothing. And it's all of these cartoon characters being edited in around them. That's what's making the performance bad. Not that the actors don't care or anything of that sort. But I'm not going to deduct points for that because I can only imagine how difficult that must be to be in a completely green screened room and having to pretend everything is there when none of it's there. And here's a big one. The doozy. I can't be the only one who saw this, right? But this story is a complete and utter rip-off of Roger Rabbit, isn't it? Roger Rabbit's in the damn movie, and they ripped off Roger Rabbit still. Has it just been that long now since Roger Rabbit came out that they're sort of thinking audiences won't notice? The younger crowds haven't seen Roger Rabbit. We can steal that and no one's going to notice. I noticed. All they did to update it was sort of make it a more modern 2022 version. But in regard to plot beats, it's pretty damn identical. and I also think it goes on too long. I felt the first half had really nice pacing, and I thought everything was really nicely set up and built to. They didn't rush through it. They made sure that you felt the relationships of these animated characters and understood their plights and what they're going through and their resistance to work together, and I thought that was all great. But by the end of the movie, my bum was numb, and I was struggling to understand how a movie about animated chipmunks has managed to go on this long. There's definitely some scenes that could be cut. There's a sing-along at some point in the movie. Don't need it. Several jokes don't land. Get them out. It definitely needed another run through the editing booth and just have the tiniest little bits here and there cut out of it and squash it down a bit. So I'm going to give Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers an 8 out of 10. Being honest with you, it is probably a 7 out of 10. It's fine. It's a little bit forgettable. It is a pretty damn big shame that they just carbon copied Roger Rabbit as well. But I do think the kids will enjoy it. I think the adults will enjoy it. It did catch me off guard. And the fact that the jokes, 9 times out of 10, genuinely made me laugh, I had to just nudge it up a little bit. I had to acknowledge that extra effort and separate it from the rest of the crowd. Thank you for watching this review. Please be sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And please be sure to hit the comment section as well. What did you think of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers? Let me know in the comment section below. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you on the next review.